you ever stopped to think about how many tomorrows you actually have left? I used to live like I had these endless days in front of me, always saying, I'll do it next year, or when things slow down, I'm going to work on that. But weeks turned into months, and months turned into years. Then I came across a book called 4,000 Weeks. It's named after the average human lifespan. And when I counted mine, I realized I'd already spent nearly half. And it really hit me, life is short. And most people reach the end of their life full of regret. And so in this video, I'm sharing the most powerful strategies to help you live intentionally and become the kind of person who's proud of the life they're creating. Number 1, courage over comparison. If you're going to spend your short life wisely, you have to stop comparing your gifts to somebody else's, because comparison kills courage. Most people look in the mirror and either 1, they don't bother looking for an answer at all from the person they see in the mirror, or when they do look at the person they see in the mirror, they don't like who they see, and they devalue themselves. And they tell themselves they're not worth investing in. They think, I'm not smart enough, I don't look the part, I don't have what they have. In fact, 𝐕𝐴𝐲 could have said that. As a teenager, he was mocked for his red hair, his stutter, his awkwardness. He could have believed he wasn't cut out for the stage, but what did he do about it? He picked up a guitar, he leaned into his difference, and he built this whole career on raw talent and authenticity. And what he thought made him unfit for music is what actually made him forgettable in music. And the trap is magnifying other people's gifts while we minimize our own. Oh, if I could just write like them, or if I just had their confidence and their charisma and their network. But if you had their gifts, then you would be them. And if you had their gifts and you had their talents, then you'd have their same calling. But you've been given something specific to win with that are your gifts and your calling. And if you're so busy wishing you had what somebody else has, you're going to miss the gift in your own hands. Think about it. Oh, all I know how to do is make people laugh. Okay, tell that to Kevin Hart, the comedian. Oh, I'm just a mom with this blog. Okay, tell Joanna Gaines all about that one. Oh, I'm just good at sharing ideas online. Okay, remind Mr. Beast how far that's taken him. And see, the problem isn't that you lack gifts. The problem is you lack the courage to value what you do have and use that. I love how Albert Einstein said, everybody is genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it's stupid. Isn't that a great quote? And so here's the question that I have for you. What do you have in your toolbox? What can you bring to the table that you've been overlooking because you're too busy comparing it to somebody else's life? Life is too short to waste it wishing you were somebody else. The people that you were meant to serve and the lives you were meant to impact while you're here on this planet don't need another version of them. They need you. Stop comparing. Have the courage to show up with what you've got and use it. Number 2, reject this happiness trap. One of the biggest lies that we've been sold is that the purpose of life is to be happy all of the time. That if you can just learn enough, look the right way, or buy the dream car or the dream house, then you're going to finally land in this place called happily ever after. But when in reality, you can spend the majority of the 4,000 weeks chasing that finish line only to arrive and realize you still feel empty. Because you still have the same human problems that you had before. And it doesn't matter how much money you have, if you don't brush your teeth, your breath still stinks. If you don't take care of your body, it still gets tired, it still gets sick, it still ages. Even billionaires hit traffic. Even celebrities spill coffee on their shirt right before a big meeting. And even the most successful people still have to deal with their bad hair days, their headaches. They wake up groggy after a night of poor sleep. Money doesn't make you superhuman. Success doesn't exempt you from being human and having the human experience. And so if happiness is all you're after, the moment that you hit resistance, you are going to quit. You will give up on the workout that you're in because it's just too hard. You will abandon the business idea because it's too stressful and it's challenging and you could fail. And you'll walk away from relationships when they stop being easy. You have to work for them. Why? Because your brain, your compass, is set on comfort. What if the point of a full life is to embrace discomfort and challenge so that we can appreciate the reward and the happiness and the pride and the accomplishment, and that becomes the byproduct. The accomplishment becomes the byproduct. I love the idea of creating a life that has such a beautiful story that I can look back on it. I can look back on that journey. Think about your most favorite movie that you've ever watched. Is the main character sitting there and smiling the entire time? Did the main character have it good from day one? Never. The reason why we fell in love with the character and we started rooting for them was because of a challenge, because of everything they had to overcome to get through the story. And so the story is powerful because of the transformation and the journey that they went on. If life were only about being happy and your story was about being nothing but happy all the time, how boring of a life would that be? Life is too short to waste it in the trap of chasing happiness all of the time. Number 3, embrace contrast. So now that we understand that it's not possible to have happiness 100% of the time, nor is that really the point of our experience. What would change if we stopped fighting for happiness and we started embracing contrast? Life isn't meant to feel good all of the time. It's meant to feel real. What gives life meaning isn't constant comfort, but the contrast of life. You appreciate a warm drink on a cold day, not because it's hot outside, because it's cold. You savor rest after a long, exhausting week, not because you're sitting around all day, but because you're tired. The sweetness of success feels powerful only because you remember the sting of failure. Reunion feels incredible because you've known separation. Growth feels rewarding because you've walked through challenge and resistance. And here's another truth about contrast that most people don't think about. People won't always like you. If you're doing something worthwhile, you will be misunderstood. You will be criticized. You will be judged and even disliked. For all of the people who thank you for everything you've done, there will be people talking bad about you and disliking you for everything you've done. That's part of the price of living an outstanding life. And as I like to quote, everybody wants to have an outstanding life, but very few people are willing to stand out to do it. Contrast is what makes the highs high. Without the lows, you'd stop noticing them. Without the struggle, joy would lose its flavor. Without critics, courage would never grow. And so without challenges, there could be no champions in life. Every obstacle that you come to is put in your way so you can prove to yourself that you're capable of it and reveal the strength that's already inside of you that's been there the entire time. This is why Viktor Frankl said, "Suffering ceases to be suffering the moment it finds a meaning." How would your experience change if you started viewing the contrast as the very ingredient that makes life fulfilling? Viewing the negative as the things that make the positive so sweet and your character so strong. Number 4, ask boldly. When I first started my private practice as a dietitian, I didn't have clients lined up. There was no wait list, there was no buzz, not even any demand yet. And I remember thinking, who am I to ask somebody to work with me? What if they say no? What if they think I'm not experienced enough? What if they don't see the value in what I have to offer? And for a while, I really let those thoughts keep me quiet. But then I realized something really simple. If I didn't ask, it was already a no. Staying silent guaranteed I'd have 0 clients. And so I started asking boldly. I reached out to people in my network and I asked friends for referrals and I offered to help people I knew were struggling with their food. And I just simply said, hey, would you like me to walk you through this in a session? I just started asking and making the offer. And not everyone said yes, but a few did. And those first yeses were just the beginning for me. They gave me momentum and confidence and proof of concept. And that practice eventually grew into something where I knew, this is something that can actually work. Think about how often this shows up in our life. How many times have you known somebody who's kind of afraid to just ask for the thing they actually want? I want you to think about maybe at a restaurant and one person at your table notices a better table at the restaurant. There's less traffic, it's easier to talk at the table because it's quieter, and they think, I don't want to bother anyone, let's just stay here where they put us. So they sit uncomfortably at this table where there's a lot of traffic and it's kind of loud and uncomfortable. And they watch the waiter walk by the table over and over and over again. And another person at the table says, hey, why don't we just ask if we can take that table? Why don't we just ask if they mind if we move? If they move us, great. If not, nothing lost. We're still at the same table. See, this is the difference between boldly asking. One person accepts no without ever asking, and the other creates the possibility in their life for more yeses. Which one are you? Are you the type of person to sit at a table and not say anything because you don't want to bother anyone? If you don't ask, it's already a no. Number 5, trade consumption for creation. One of the easiest ways to waste a short life is to sit back and consume endlessly. Binge watching, snacking on everyone else's content, their opinions, what they're putting out there, while never putting anything of your own into the world. Now, there's nothing wrong with relaxing and being entertained and learning from others, but when your life tilts too far into consumption, something inside of you starts to go numb. And the reason I believe this happens for human beings is because I don't believe that we were put here to just consume. I believe we as human beings were put here to create, to be creators. Think about it. If you spend an hour scrolling on social media, what's left at the end of it? Absolutely nothing. But if you spend an hour writing, building, designing, recording, painting, cooking, creating, having a deep conversation with your kids, creating connection, you've created something that didn't exist before. I've told you all before about when I was growing up, how boy bands were like the biggest, most popular thing back in the 90s. And you always had to be either Team Backstreet Boys or Team NSYNC, and you had to pick a side, and then you had to know everything about the band. Every birthday, every lyric, every dance move, who's dating who, and just all of these like meaningless facts. You'd be obsessed about it. Meanwhile, those bands were locked in on their creation, writing music, producing music, creating entertainment for their own concerts. And so what they created became what we consumed. What would change if we spent more of our 4,000 weeks creating and less time consuming? What are you going to be proud of at the end of your life? What you created or what you consumed? Number 6, engage the present. One of the biggest ways that we waste our short life is by never fully being where we are. Think about it. When we're supposed to be resting or spending time with the people that we love, our mind is somewhere else. We're thinking about work and unfinished projects, or replaying what we didn't get done and stressing about the to-do list and all these things we have to get done. So we're physically there, but we're not really fully mentally really there. And then when it's actually time to work, instead of focusing on the work that we said we were going to do at the time we said we were going to do it, we avoid. And so we go check emails and we send some texts to our family and our friends, and we just distract ourselves with all of these little tasks instead of doing the thing that we said we were going to do when we said we were going to do it. So the cycle ends up continuing, and work seeps into our rest periods and distraction seeps into our work period. But what would change if we always honored our word to ourselves? What if we actually did the thing we said we were going to do when we said we would do it? Here's what actually would happen. When it's work time, we give our full focus and get it done. And when it's rest time, we'd be fully present with our loved ones. Not half there, not checking our phones, not thinking about what's unfinished. Imagine how much lighter life would feel if you trusted yourself to show up when you said you would. Imagine how much deeper your relationships would be if you were fully present instead of distracted. Life is short, terrifyingly short. You don't have unlimited tomorrows, and the clock doesn't stop just because you're waiting for the perfect moment. We've talked a lot about the traps that waste your life, and we've talked about the choices that make your life meaningful. And if you will focus your time in life on these 6 things, you will be blown away. And you will also look around one day and say, I didn't just exist, I actually lived. And if you like this video and want to take the work deeper and start living on purpose, I want to invite you to join us inside Personal Power. It's the monthly membership where we go deeper on these lessons with live coaching, masterclasses, and tools to help you do it now. Don't do it alone. Come join us inside Personal Power. You can go to joinpersonalpower.com/trial, or you can grab it in the link below. I'll talk to y'all soon.